hour twice a week so that I can just reach some more families, moms, dads, support people, and just give them some different information on different topics within birth and pregnancy and postpartum, breastfeeding, all that good stuff. Shout out to my mod Kaya, who is not even feeling her best today, but is in here doing the things. Um, Kaya, don't forget to pin those as you do them. Thank you guys for the repost and welcome in. So today we are doing birth locations and your birth team. So we're gonna start off with, one of the most widely known or thought about birth locations, which is the hospital. So when you, hey Alexa, thank you for the daily. Thank y'all for the pops. Thank y'all for the taps. When you give birth at a hospital, the average stay is about 1 to 3 days. It's really about 2 or 3, but you can sometimes leave out a little bit early if all is well. Hello. At the hospital, you are most likely to be seen by an OBGYN. Yes, ma'am. New page. I will be here primarily. Well, I will only be here going forward. I will not be live on my other page. Thank y'all for the dailies and the roses. So if you give birth at a hospital, you will most likely have your baby delivered by an OBGYN or an obstetrician gynecologist. An OBGYN is the only one that can perform a surgery. So if you need a C-section for any reason, you are going to have an OB. Obstetrics, their major is in surgery. You may also have a CNM, which is a certified nurse midwife. They have to be a registered nurse. They have to take like a registered nurse licensure and then midwifery on top of that. You will also have nurses and patient care technicians as part of your care team. When you give birth at the hospital, you're usually following up in your doctor's office within 2 to 6 weeks of giving birth. When you give birth at the birth center, you usually get discharged in less than 8 hours. The birth center is set up to be kind of like a happy medium in between giving birth at home and at the hospital. Many birth centers are located within very close proximity to the hospital so that there is ease of transfer if a transfer becomes something that's necessary. But usually they have like 2 to 4 birthing suites that are available. They're set up to look kind of like your bedroom and like with a big master bathroom attached with usually a birthing tub, things like that. And you give birth and you're usually home within, I would say the average is about 6 hours, but up to 8 hours usually for the birth center. Depending on what state you live in, the different types of midwives that can practice at a birth center may vary. So you might have a certified nurse midwife. You might have a certified professional midwife. Hey, Mika. Or you might have a certified midwife. Thank you for the daily. So a certified nurse midwife, again, is someone who has taken the registered nurse certification, licensure, and then has done midwifery on top of that. A certified professional midwife is somebody who has not had to take the nursing. They usually will do some, like apprenticeship, if you will. You're done with kids. I appreciate you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for coming in and supporting. That's what it's all about. Like I said, when I started, even if it's not for you, your taps, your shares, whatever are all appreciated. Thank you for the super pops, Kai. I appreciate that. Certified professional midwife usually does apprenticeship with other midwives to get their training. They usually have like a skills checklist that is signed off. They usually have to take some different classes and whatnot, and then they submit them to a national board organization, and then they sit on an exam to get their certification. Those midwives are usually, they're not performing births in hospitals, just certified nurse midwives. A certified midwife is pretty much, it's pretty similar, but every state doesn't recognize a certified midwife. But either way, at a birth center, you may have a certified nurse midwife, a certified professional midwife, or a certified midwife, just depending on your state. But most often, it's still a certified nurse midwife for a birth center. You also usually have a nurse available, and then a follow-up may be either at home or in office. It depends on the birth center. They may send a nurse or another midwife to come to your home and come check on you, or they may have you come to the office within, the first couple of days. But either way, when you give birth at the birth center, your follow-up with a professional is usually still sooner than it is when you give birth at the hospital. The soonest that you usually see your doctor after you give birth at the hospital is 2 weeks, with an average of 6 weeks. When you give birth at home, obviously there's no stay time. You're already at home. At home, you may have, hey coach, welcome in. Thank you for the daily. Hey Cuts, welcome, welcome. At home, you may have a certified nurse midwife, a certified professional midwife, a certified midwife, or even a traditional midwife. Now, a traditional midwife, hey, we are talking about birthing locations and your birth teams, as well as like follow-up and release and aftercare. If this is not for y'all, like I mentioned before, absolutely no worries, but your support is appreciated by way of taps and shares for as long as you feel like staying here. Traditional midwife. So there is another type of midwife that is called a traditional midwife. This means that the midwife has not taken any formal training. Like, it doesn't mean that they absolutely didn't take any classes at all, but they're not being graded or overseen by someone else to determine when they are ready to call themselves a midwife. Hey, Skyla. They are taking it upon themselves to do the studies and determine when they feel ready to go out and catch some babies. Thank you, coach. This is kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people because it can be kind of scary, right? You have somebody out there who's just like, all of a sudden, I'm just going to call myself a midwife. Most people, however, are too scared to do that. So the likelihood that you're going to get a traditional midwife that has not done their due diligence to, study under another midwife and learn the ropes and then go out and start catching some babies is very small, because most people are too scared that something bad will happen and they're not certified. Also, there are only, thank you, coach, I appreciate you. There are only a few select states that actually allow for traditional midwifery operations. The state that I live in Connecticut, is one of the states where we are allowed the autonomy to choose whoever we want to support us when we're giving birth. You do not have to have formal training to deliver babies. And like I said, that can be kind of scary, but also think about days where slavery was really still around, right? A lot of our ancestors were just helping women give birth because there was no other option. We didn't have another option. It was just our birthright that the elder women of the community, the grandmothers, the mothers, the aunts, were helping women to give birth. And it was through us and our services as community leaders, we became the people that were called to different homes to help the mothers that were giving birth. And then a lot of our practices were studied and learned and then turned into more medicalized services when hospitals became more available. And even when hospitals became more available, they were not available to people who looked like myself. So we were still practicing, you know, the elder women of the community, helping to serve the women who were having babies at home because they were not allowed to go to the hospitals. So it's a beautiful thing that this right is still protected in some areas, but you know, you just have to be very careful. But that's where your research comes in, right? And just knowing who you're hiring and vetting people before selecting your birth provider. Hold on. Hey, I didn't want to decline you, but I'm not battling for a little bit because I'm doing my power hour segment right now. I'll catch you later, though.
Yeah, I'll catch you later.
That's the little bro right there. I can never decline his call. So that was for, I don't have any more. Shh, I'm doing something right now. So that was for home birth. You might have a certified nurse midwife, a certified professional midwife, a certified midwife, or a traditional midwife. You will also have a midwife assistant. So a midwife assistant or a birth assistant is somebody who, there are midwife assistant / birth assistant training programs. Please stop. I am using my board right now, so you cannot draw on it. Stop. I ain't taking that today. There are some formal trainings that you can take for birth assisting, but I tell people before you go dive into a birth assisting course, it's better to, for one, find out if there's even a midwife that is looking for a birth assistant, because you know, there are usually a handful of home birth midwives in one particular area, and many of them are often already set up with their team. It might take a while before they need an assistant, a new assistant. So always see if there are midwives who are actively looking for a new birth assistant, and then find out if they have their own training, because each midwife works so differently. They have their own like system, how they want their paperwork done and how they want their supplies set up, and you know, just kind of their particular protocol. So some midwives don't even care if you've taken a birth assistant training already, because they're like, well, I do my own thing, so you're still gonna have to come in and shadow with me and whatever, and kind of like do a whole training with me anyway. Not saying a birth assistant training on its own is not good to have. You can definitely still take one, but you know, I would say do that simultaneously while looking for a midwife that is even available. I can't tell you how many doulas I've seen say, oh, I want to do birth assisting, and then they go pay hundreds and hundreds, maybe even $1,000+ to do a birth assisting training, and then they're like, there are no midwives that are looking for a birth assistant. And I'm like, yeah, should have maybe asked around first before diving into the training. So just a suggestion. When you give birth at home, you're often getting a follow-up in the first 24 hours, 48 hours, and then about a week or so. So your midwife is coming to you. Some midwives that do home birth do have their own office as well. And maybe after like, you know, the first 2 weeks, you may go to their office, but usually all the care is done at your home, including the newborn care exam. So when you give birth at the hospital, usually the pediatrician comes in to check your baby over at some point before you're discharged. when you give birth at the birth center, you know, obviously the midwife is going to look your baby over and stuff, but usually you'll still take your baby to a pediatrician in the first however many days or so. And then when you give birth at home, hey TT, welcome in. When you give birth at home, the midwife is also skilled in doing the newborn care exams for you. You don't have to take your baby to the pediatrician for a couple weeks unless you feel like you need to. They can do some of the first little pokies for your baby as well, if you're opting to have those things like you know, vitamin K, which they can also give orally through drops and things like that for home birth. So, and then one common denominator in all of these locations is that you can have a doula. You can have a doula at any of these locations. A doula can be on your birth team. There are some hospitals that have in-house doula programs available. So you may be able to get a doula directly through the hospital in two different ways. There are some hospitals that have it to where they have doulas on staff, rotating in shifts, and you can just get somebody that's there. Some hospitals have a program that once you know you're delivering at that hospital, they'll give you a registration form, ask you if you're interested in a doula during your pregnancy, and they'll connect you with somebody. You can like even interview them and stuff. And then you pay for your doula and they connect you. So kind of like a little doula match agency within the hospital program, like within the hospital, if you will. So they can help get you matched to a doula. So those are the two ways you can get a doula directly through the hospital, potentially. But usually you go out and you Google and look for a doula on your own, or just, you know, through people that you may know. You can ask around, whatever have you. But you can have a doula on your birth team for all locations. So for people who are not familiar, oh man, I got to answer, but I'm going to tell them I'm not battling right now.
Shanti.
Hey y'all, I didn't want to decline, but I'm doing a power hour segment right now, so I'm not doing any battles for a little bit.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate
Hey,
you.
Shanti.
Of course. Hey, Dr. Rose. This is my new page, by the way, so I didn't like this. Oh, I got you already on here. Yeah, this is
I was
a new
like, how?
page.
I thought I was already following her.
Yeah, no, you were. It's a new page, but I'll check y'all
All right.
later. All right. Look at my people looking for me. Oh, not me declining battles. Yeah, I got an itch though, for real. I'm not gonna lie, because I literally have not been on all day until I started Power Hour. So I have not done a single battle. When Power Hour is over, I'm gonna go cook dinner, and then I'm gonna get back on and I'm gonna do some battles and run the streets a little bit. And hopefully people are on then, because I done declined everybody at this point. But anyway, for the people who don't know, a lot of people are still not really familiar with doulas and what we do, and they often will mistake or think that a doula and a midwife is the same thing. So I'll briefly cover the difference between a doula and a midwife, and the role of a doula within your birth team. So, and then I'll also talk about like your nurse and your patient care tech at the hospital too, since I did include them as part of your birth team at the hospital. So, hey, Miss Sharon, welcome in. How are you? We're talking about birth locations and your birth team for my Power Hour segment today. I hope all is well. Thank you for popping in and grabbing that daily heart me. I appreciate you. So, a doula versus a midwife. I give this analogy for people. So you have your doctor, and then you have your RN. So your midwife would essentially be what your doctor is, and your no. Sorry. You have your RN and a CNA, right? So your RN would basically be like your midwife, and your doula would be like your CNA. And the reason why I did it that way is because a CNA usually is not doing anything medical, right? They're just kind of doing comfort and care, general care, like they're helping to clean the patient. You know, they're not giving any medications or anything like that. Hey, Taurus, welcome in. We're doing Power Hour right now. You can see the little pin right there. Hope you're having a good day. I appreciate you coming in and tapping the screen. And showing support, even if this might not be for you. I appreciate it. Thank you. So a doula does not do anything medical. We are not giving suggestions on what the clients should take. We are not listening to the baby's heartbeat. We are not delivering the baby. We're not doing any of those things. The midwife, thank you for the rose. The midwife is the one who is actually doing the medical care for the mother or birthing parent. They are listening to the fetal heart tones. They are measuring the belly size. They're making sure that the blood work is up to date, all of that stuff. So the midwife is doing the actual medical care and delivery, whereas the doula's role is more so to make sure that the client understands everything that's happening throughout their pregnancy and their care, helping them to learn where and how to access any resources that they might need. So say they're really struggling with back discomfort or like sciatic pain, they can help provide resources for like, okay, well, chiropractic care is shown to be very helpful for women who are pregnant and having sciatic pain. So here are some local chiropractors, and here are the ones that take your particular insurance, like knowing those types of resources. Say the mom is planning on breastfeeding. Okay, well, here are our local lactation consultants. Let's see if I can give them a call and get you connected so that you can get a lactation consultant lined up for yourself. So helping them with things like that, preparing for the birth, understanding the birth process, what to expect. There are different options that are available to them, especially when it comes to pain relief, comfort measures, things like that. Just really helping them to kind of understand that whole birthing process. Being there with them when they give birth is usually the most highly sought out reason for hiring a doula. We can provide them with physical comfort techniques. So usually a lot of massage, lower back counter pressure, helping them to understand what's happening. You know, doctors might come in and they have this lingo and they're saying this and that, and the client has no idea what's going on. They're like, what does that even mean? What are my options? Sometimes in birth, it's a very don't ask, don't tell situation, unfortunately, when it comes to the hospitals, especially. So like if you don't ask for a specific option, they may not even tell you that option's available. So it's good to know, hey, son of the sun, welcome in. It's good to know or to have a doula that can explain some of the different options that you may be able to request or ask for, and support you through that birthing process, hold your hand, whatever it might be. And then in the postpartum period, your doula is often one of the very first people who is a professional that will check in with you, notice any struggles, any difficulties, get you to go see your doctor sooner if need be, like assess your overall well-being mentally, physically, and emotionally. So a doula can be for anybody, but that is the difference between a doula and a midwife. Again, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Please help to keep my chat moving as well. It does help to push the stream out. Even if you don't have questions, you can just drop FYP. You can just say things like great info. You can drop some stickers, whatever. If you're still in here, I would greatly appreciate the help to keep the room moving. When you're giving birth at the hospital, you will have nurses and patient care techs usually as well. Y'all autocorrect is doing y'all so dirty right now. Let me just tell you. Oh man, the autocorrect is doing y'all real bad tonight. I appreciate it. A for effort. A for effort. Um, so your nurses are usually the biggest part of your they're the big they're usually the primary member of your care team when you're giving birth in the hospital. You see your nurse more than you see your actual doctor. Honestly, your nurses are usually the ones that are doing your cervical exams most of the time. They are taking note of what's going on with you, and they're relaying the message to the doctor. And then if the doctor needs to put in any order for any like pain medication, the doctor will put the order in, and the nurse will come in and they will take care of that order. Alafia. They will take care of that order and make sure that you have what you need. And then in between those times, you may also see a patient care tech who will come in and do some of the minor things. Like they may give you your, not any type of IV medication, but if you need like Tylenol, they may dispense that to you. Thank you for the daily. They may also come in and do your blood pressure. They may also come in and take your temperature. They may check your pad or anything like that to see if some things need changing. And they will do some of those kind of like minor tasks. Yes, Liz, it's a new page. It's a new page. I will be going live here. Yes. So a patient care tech, thank you for the daily. A patient care tech is usually part of your care team while you are giving birth at the hospital as well. Okay. So now, yeah. So now the pros and cons. So for anybody who is just coming in, I'll do a very quick recap. We are discussing birth locations and your birth team. And we discussed the hospital, the birth center, and giving birth at home. We discussed how long your stay is usually at the hospital versus the birth center versus, of course, there's no separate stay at home because you're already at home. We talked about an OBGYN being the person who is most likely to deliver your baby if you are giving birth at the hospital. They are also the only professional who can perform a surgery for you if you need a cesarean when you are delivering. Well, the only person out of like, midwife or nurse or any of the other professionals that you may have. At the hospital, you'll also have nurses and patient care techs as part of your team, and your follow-up is usually in office with your doctor within 2 to 6 weeks. The birth center stay is usually less than 8 hours. You'll usually have a certified nurse midwife, a certified professional midwife, or a certified midwife. Usually a nurse is there as well. And you're usually following up. Someone will come to your home, or sometimes the follow-up is at the birthing center office. When you're at home, you have a certified nurse midwife, certified professional midwife, certified midwife, or traditional midwife, as well as a midwife assistant, and a follow-up at home, usually within the first 24 hours. Hey, Naomi, welcome in. You may also have a doula per your choice. A doula can be available to you at any birthing location. Sometimes hospitals do have a built-in doula program where you can either get a doula that is on staff rotating at the hospital, or a program that can match you with a doula that they have deemed they have certain requirements, and they put you on a list if you want to be called. You still have to pay for that doula separately and hire them basically like you normally would. It kind of just works like an agency where they can pair you. Justice for All, welcome in. So pros and cons of giving birth at the hospital, birth center, or at home. So let's talk about it. First things first is expense, right? Or cost. Thank you so much for the shares. I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, if anybody here can would like to renew their friendship with me, if you know what I'm talking about, I appreciate it. Big B, welcome in. Welcome. I hope everybody's having a good day. Thank you for the Daily Heart Meet. If you are just sliding in, today's topic is birthing locations and your birth team. Thank you for renewing your friendship. Thank you for the taps. I'm not going to do the whole recap again because I just recapped, but we talked about the hospital, the birth center versus home, and the different professionals that you may have at each location. So now we're going to jump into the pros and cons of giving birth at these different locations. So the first things first is the cost, right? The expense. So most people have insurance. Most people's insurance will cover most or at least some of the cost of giving birth at any of these locations. However, a good percentage of people have state-based insurance, right? Medicaid, if you will. Medicaid usually covers the birth at the hospital. Medicaid sometimes will cover birth at the birth center. Medicaid most often does not cover birth. Yeah, a lot of people have Blue Cross. And they're usually good about covering most things, honestly. It's like one of my favorite insurances. Actually, I'm gonna just plug this in. So my lactation business has been pretty much non-existent the last like 6 months because the company that I was partnering with to accept clients, 99% of my clients have Blue Cross, and they canceled their partnership with Blue Cross. So now I have like no lactation work for a long time. It's been terrible. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Medicaid usually... Hi, Malkia. Welcome in. Can you turn that TV down just like 2 notches, please? Medicaid most often does not cover a home birth unless your home birth provider is a certified nurse midwife. Thank you for the Daily Heart Me. I appreciate you. And the problem with that is that most... Thank you for the trophy. I appreciate you. Most home birth midwives are certified professional midwives, and they usually are not eligible to accept state insurance. So most people who are giving birth at home are paying directly out of pocket. Which, fun fact, a home birth is usually 2 to 3 times cheaper than a hospital or birth center birth. But it feels more expensive because you're paying for it out of pocket versus you may just have to pay a copay to give birth at the hospital or birth center. Or you may not pay anything if you have state insurance. You may not pay anything at all. Giving birth at the hospital, on average, you're looking at a starting price of like $15,000-$20,000 plus. Hey GT, welcome in. Thank you for the taps. I hope all is well. I appreciate you for sliding through. Whereas a home birth, hey Temmie, a home birth average $5,000 to $8,000, and that $5,000 to $8,000 usually also includes like your supplies and stuff that you need. Also, that includes your entire care with your midwife throughout your pregnancy and into the postpartum period. The fee that you pay to give birth at the hospital, snack break. Oh, it's the wrong side. I forgot I was mirrored. Thank you for my popcorn. The fee that you pay when you give birth at the hospital is usually literally just the fee to give birth there. Your cost to actually see your OBGYN throughout the duration of your pregnancy is also a whole separate cost, which sometimes is a couple $1,000s as well, somewhere between like $3,000 and $5,000 for your care throughout your pregnancy, which does not include giving birth at the hospital too. It's really cheaper to have a home birth, but it can be difficult if you're paying out of pocket because it's cash money, right? So yeah, cost, you got to just kind of weigh your pros and cons depending on how you're paying for where you want to give birth. Pro of giving birth at the hospital. Well, if there's a significant emergency, you don't have to be transferred anywhere. You are already where you need to be. If you need an emergency surgery, whatever have you. Hey, Mike, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. If you need emergency surgery or anything like that, you are already where you need to be. Thank you for the heart, me. I appreciate it. Shh. You're already where you need to be. Some people just feel more comfortable being able to stay in the facility a couple of days. Some people just look at the idea of being home or getting discharged somewhere within a few hours of having a whole baby as like, what? You're gonna leave, like, no doctors, like, you know, nothing. Thank you for the daily. Hey, Juliet, welcome in. So that's another pro as well, if you see that as a pro. Con, well, you're out of your element, so it may be more uncomfortable. You're more likely to have unwanted or unnecessary interventions when you're giving birth at the hospital. Hey, you are more likely to be introduced to hospital-borne, diseases and illnesses, just from other people in the hospital. So yeah, those are some of the not so desirable things for a lot of people. And also potentially the cost, right? The birth center, pros and cons. Pros, well, you kind of get the best of both worlds, right? You get like a happy medium between giving birth at home and in the hospital. The birth center is usually, like I said earlier, in close proximity to the hospital, so you can get there really quickly if there is an emergency and you need to be transferred. The only birth center that we have here in my state, the hospital is literally a walk right across the street. Like literally, you just maybe about 20 steps across the street and the hospital is there. So very convenient, very close by in case there's an emergency. You also, like I said, you get that kind of like comfort of home feeling. For those who desire it, you get to go home within a few hours. Like I said earlier, somewhere between 6 and 8 hours of giving birth, as long as all is well, you get to go right home. You pack your baby up and you go home. So some people do desire that. And for those who do, that is definitely a benefit. And the benefit is also that they usually take insurance, and sometimes even state-based insurance or Medicaid, as long as there's a certified nurse midwife who is doing the delivery. I'm pointing at the board like y'all can see it. And I would say they're not really... some of the cons maybe for giving birth at the birth center is that, like, if you end up wanting an epidural, for example, you can't get an epidural there. If you do have a major emergency, you do have to get transferred to the hospital. Those are the only like cons that I can really think of for a birth center. It's usually a really nice option, a really nice happy medium too. Pros and cons for giving birth at home are very similar to that of giving birth at the birth center. If you have a major emergency, you have to get transferred. There's no epidural. So if you change your mind and birth is too painful for the other mild options that can be available for you, like nitrous oxide, aka laughing gas or anything like that, you do have to get transferred if you end up wanting to get an epidural. Cleanup but you know, your midwife and your doula and whoever usually will take care of the cleanup for you or whatever. But out of pocket cost up front, that may be a little bit more of a con. But other than that, you know, for anybody who wants it, I feel it's more good things than not. Giving birth at home, everything in the comfort of your house. Hiring a doula, other than potential costs, I think has no cons. Unless you find the wrong doula for you, which is not a con of having a doula in itself. It's just one of the things that sometimes happens when you're hiring anybody to do any type of service for you. Sometimes you just may not get the best person, but got to do your due diligence, right? And do your research and interview different people before you pick one. Look at reviews, ask people that you know. But a doula is usually an out-of-pocket expense, usually not covered by, most insurances. Very few. My state has just started a program where they are providing doulas through Medicaid, but that is very tricky, and it's a lot of. There are some states, New York, I believe, also has Medicaid covered doula services, things like that. Ooh, Kaya, that's a good one. And this can be at the this can really kind of be anywhere, but not usually for the home birth. Usually whoever you hired is who you get. But especially for the hospital, especially. And sometimes for the birth center. If there are multiple OBs, midwives, whatever, you may not get the person that you want. You may get whoever's on call at the time. Usually with a home birth, you have your primary midwife, and sometimes they will say, I work with a partner. So at the very least, you know the partner as well. But like in a practice that when you're giving birth at the hospital and there's like a dozen doctors, you may see all of those doctors throughout your pregnancy, and you don't know who's going to be the one to deliver you. So you may end up with the doctor that you like the least, which seems to always freaking be the case. Like you never get the one you like. Well, that didn't happen to me, but it happens a lot. So yes, thank you for sharing that as one of the cons. That's definitely one of the cons for the hospital for sure. Sometimes with the birth center, and not too often with the home birth. A doula on average costs you about $800 to about $2,500. It can be a little bit more depending on the doula's different areas of expertise, how long your doula has been in the game, as well as the location. Hey, Tisha. So a doula that has been in business for 10 years that is working in like New York City, let's say, in Manhattan. Thank you for the daily. That doula services may cost about $3,000 to $5,000. Whereas, you know, I don't know, you might have a doula in Virginia, and she's been a doula for 2 years. I remember to do it the right way this time. Thank you, Tisha, because I mirrored, and last time I was doing it with this hand and it was not in the right spot. Thank you for the popcorn. And that doula may cost you like, you know, $900 instead of $3,000. So it really depends on how long they've been around, what type of services they offer, the different areas of expertise. I have been in business for 11 years. I don't live in New York City, but I do live in a state that, you know, cost of living is a little bit more expensive. I also have expertise in a lot of different areas. So I have taken a PAIL training, which is pregnancy and infant loss. Yeah, pregnancy and infant loss. I'm also a lactation consultant. I have done newborn care. I am a postpartum trained. I am trained as a birth assistant. Like, I've taken so many different, I have neonatal resuscitation certification, like so many different trainings under my belt that increase the value of just my overall knowledge and professionalism. And my value is just like, I'm a more well-rounded doula than maybe some other doulas who haven't taken as many trainings and hasn't been around as long as I am. So my prices may be a little bit higher. You can sometimes even find a free doula. It's okay, Alexa. I mean, you know, no pressure, but just a friendly reminder that if you so choose to become a super fan, you will get access to the Discord, which has a link to see all of the recordings from all of the Power Hour segments. Depending on how far along you are, there could be a payment plan set up. Absolutely. And that holds true for the hospital if you're paying out of pocket for any reason. Definitely the birth center and for home birth, and for hiring a doula. Payment plans may definitely be available. So yes, thank you for plugging that in. If you're paying out of pocket, usually they will have a payment plan available to you for your care. And a lot of midwives that are doing home births really want people who want a home birth to have a home birth. And they are usually willing to set up a payment plan that sometimes will go even beyond the time that you've given birth. So even into the first like 3 months after you've had your baby, they will allow you to still pay for your services. Alexa, to be totally honest, I'm not 100% sure. Even with Blue Cross, there are different, there's like Blue Cross for different states, and each state has different laws for the types of midwives, and each insurance sometimes only covers a specific type of midwife. Like they may only cover if you have a nurse midwife. They may not cover if you have a certified professional midwife. So really it may come down to your particular state, your particular plan, and the type of midwives that are available to provide home births. So it's really not a one size fits all type of answer. That's going to be very individualized based on those like 3 primary factors. So I always recommend to people that are thinking about a home birth to really or just planning to get pregnant at some point soon, or they're actively trying to really look at their insurance plans and what it covers, and to start knowing about their available options in advance so that you're not scrambling afterwards. But I would definitely look into those things for sure. I think that just about covers most of the topic. Oh, it was almost an hour, 50 minutes. Anybody have any questions to end with, or any other thoughts to plug in? Like Kaya was plugging in some different little info tidbits. If you have anything else, feel free to drop it in the chat and let me know. Or if it's easier, if you want to come up, you can press the button and come up. We do have some time left for that. Yes, Q&A. Q&A. Hey, Michelle, welcome in. Thank you for doing all the things. Does anybody remember what next week's topic is? Let me go look so I can tell you guys what next week's topic is. Yes, I do. I appreciate you as always, of course. Thank you. Thank you for coming in and doing all the things. So next week we have labor prep and comfort measures. Hey Cora, welcome in. So next week is 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for the daily. And we are going to do labor preparation and comfort measures. So we did last week, we talked about birth plans. So we can kind of recap the birth planning thing. And then talk about other ways to prepare for labor, and then talking about different comfort measures for labor as well. Thank you for those pops. I appreciate you. So if anybody has any questions, final call before I go cook dinner, and then then I'll be back. I'll be back afterwards to do some battles. It's probably going to take me about, I'll say an hour. So I'll probably be back at like 7 o'clock to do some battling. Hey Empress, welcome in. I was doing my power hour when you sent the battle invites. I'm just wrapping up my power hour segment. We were talking about birth locations and your birth team. So we were doing my 1 hour power hour. Nothing happened to it. I just wanted a fresh start. Clean slate. That's all. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, if you have no further questions or comments or suggestions for me, that is going to conclude Power Hour for this week. Well, not this week, but for today. I'll be back on Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next Power Hour, where again, we're going to do comfort measures and preparing for labor. I will get this video downloaded and uploaded to the other link that will be provided in the Discord for super fans. So again, if that's something that interests you, that is not the only benefit to being a super fan. There are also super fan Sunday sound baths and the ability to kind of just promote yourself here on TikTok. Any of your content, if you're having live streams, if you have a business outside of here and you want to promote your stuff, we have a Discord where you can just do all of those things and access all of these recordings if you ever missed them, or you just want to go back and rewatch them to get the information again. You also have one-on-one access to me as a super fan subscriber if you do have any other questions, like, some minor little stuff that I don't mind answering for you. But yeah, I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in and for participating, doing all the things. I'll be back in roughly an hour to satisfy my battle itch for the day. So I'm out. Run, run.